Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Powerful Man Show. I am your host, Doug Holt, with my co-host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. Tim, what's going down, man?
Very well. Very well. I'm intrigued. You said I've got something to talk to you about.
Well, no, so transparently, a lot of times we get onto this. You and I are just having a dialogue about life and the men that we work with, and then we hit the record button and we start talking. So it's not a lot of prep work in there, which can be stressful at times when you're producing content for people that you really want to resonate. Like you and I want this to help people, and that's why we do it. But something that came to my mind is something that is happening to, or happened, he's coming out of it now, to one of the guys. And it happens to all of us men at times. It's when you're on the path, right? The path that you know works for you. You're doing your alpha rise and shine, your morning routine, you're connected with your wife, your health is on point, your business is on point, and then you stumble, right? You stumble, you get off track for a little while. Maybe it's a day, maybe it's a week, maybe it's a year, maybe it's a decade, right? But you get off track. And what happened for this guy, Tim, I think you'll know who I'm talking about, but we won't say his name, is he got embarrassed about it, right? When he recognized he was off track, and it took him, I want to say about 6 months or so, but when he recognized he was off track, he had been hiding for that 6 months. And so when I say hiding, you got to understand that we have a community, a group that we call the Brotherhood. And in the Brotherhood, it's high performing men from all over the world, business leaders that are in there. They're sharing what's going on with their lives, but they're also supporting each other. They're giving each other everything from investment tips to raising your kids, to talking about what's going on in their personal lives and how to really connect with their wives. So topics are all over the place, and it's an amazing community. But when someone hides out, all of a sudden they stop showing up. They stop posting. They might be reading the threads, but there's a sense of shame or embarrassment that comes over these guys, is what I'm seeing. And they hide out and they've stumbled. Now, this guy is coming out of that, right? We have a process that allows us to pull the guys out, and sometimes we leave them and let them linger because that's part of the journey, as we did for this guy. But he's now coming out of that phase. So what I want to talk about are what to do when you find yourself as a man, as a businessman, as a husband, a father, and you've been on the right path, but you've stumbled. And as I said, maybe it's been a day, a week, a month, a year, a decade, but you find yourself you look yourself in the mirror and you go, I don't recognize that guy staring back at me, and I'm time for a change.
And are you, just so I'm clear, because obviously I'm thinking about these guys when they've gone through. So part of the embarrassment for the guys when they stumble is they think they know better, right? Because obviously they've been through the activation method, they've been through the alpha reset, they've realized certain things about themselves that they obviously didn't know before, and they've been given tools, support, accountability to act a different way. And I think that's where a lot of the time for those guys, especially when they have such high highs, um, the lows that they can then sometimes, obviously it still trends upwards, but it's that whole thing of, I know better. I should have done better. That then causes them it just digs them further into the hole, the shame, the embarrassment. They don't ever go back to where they were obviously before, because it's kind of like climbing mountains, right? You climb to the top and then you realize, oh, there's that peak over there. So you go down, go up. Oh, there's that higher peak. And you keep going, right? So are you talking about people that who maybe haven't done the work on themselves, Doug, or maybe don't have access to certain tools?
Well, I mean, obviously you and I are biased. We believe that the activation method and the alpha reset are the best programs for businessmen out there, right? Otherwise we wouldn't be involved in it. But I'm talking about any man, right? Whether they have had the tools or maybe they have other tools in their lives where they're like, crap, I'm 40 years old, and when I was in my 30s, I had all this vigor, confidence. When it came to my wife or women, I was able, I was brazen. I didn't care, and I was on top of the world. I was dominating in business. Or maybe it was, they're 40 and 6 months ago, they were working out all the time and doing their morning routines, and they've just fallen off. Those are the guys I'm talking about.
Okay. Okay. And the question is, what could those guys do in that position?
Yeah, what do you do when you when you've stumbled and you've realized you've stumbled and you're embarrassed? You're like, man, that guilt, that
Mhm.
shame.
Got you. Okay. Um, I mean, assuming that you don't have the support around you from other guys, I think the first thing you could do. I mean, I'll speak from my own experience. Um, the thing that I like to do is I like to come clean. I like to come clean with the people around me as quickly as possible. Usually, it's with you and Arthur and Amelia or whoever it might involve, because I may have dropped the ball with one particular person within the organization. I may have dropped the ball with someone in my family. I may have dropped the ball with a friend, whoever it is. Um, I know whenever I used to try and push something down and cover up how I was feeling, it was impossible to lie to myself. I just couldn't. I could lie to my head, but I couldn't lie to my heart. And what I mean by that is I could tell myself it was okay, but it'd still niggle at me. It'd still niggle at me until I realized the power of an honest conversation. So the first thing I would recommend them doing is coming clean with whoever it's involved. And even if it doesn't involve anyone, even if it's just themselves, come clean with the people around you. Maybe it's a conversation that you get to have with, um, ideally not your wife, although it can be powerful having it with your wife. If you say, "Hey, can I share something with you?" She says, "Yeah," and then obviously you can say, "Look, I've realized something about myself." And then boom, 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 boom. That can actually bring you guys closer together in a lot of ways. Or you may choose to have that conversation with some men around you who you feel confident would get it, and they're not just going to say to you, I don't know, make fun of it or just say, it doesn't matter, just forget about it, to brush over it. It's important that you have the depth here so you can actually experience this, because if this is bubbling and you can't shake it, and by default it's then going to be slowing you down, and you may be drinking a little bit more in an evening to try and get rid of this awkwardness that you're feeling, or you may be a little bit more on edge and snapping at people because there's something simmering and you just can't, it's like an itch that you can't reach that you need to scratch. Then obviously you want to share it in a place where you feel like it's going to be heard, so you can go deep. So be careful the men that you share it with, so you actually are able to get what you desire from this. And I think by default, the other thing I was going to say, but I think it happens anyway by default, is to just let yourself off the hook with it. You know, um, I think there's so much power in having this conversation because it has a domino effect in so many other areas with this particular topic, from feeling ashamed to feeling like you an imposter to feeling to act in certain ways, whether it's drink, drugs, porn, whatever. Um, for me, it has become very addictive to have these conversations. And it's like going to the gym. The more that it takes courage the first time, the hardest part of going to the gym is getting there. So it takes, the toughest part about this is plucking up the courage to say those first things to maybe to your wife. Hey, can I share something with you? And I've realized that that's the hardest part. You might fumble your way through it the first time. That's cool. But by default, when you do share this and get this off your chest, you're more than likely going to feel a lightness. And that's for me why this becomes addictive, because it's that lightness. Feeling heavy for me now is not something I enjoy and something I'm very aware of, because obviously managing energy over time, like we've discussed. And it's just not worth the payoff for me to bury it and to keep it to myself. It slows me down in every area of my life and sucks happiness from me and my life like a vampire. Um, so yeah, I'd boil it down to that one thing.
So when you look at that, boiling it down to that one thing of what you're doing energetically and everything else. So here I am today. This is not me right now anyway, but I've been through this situation, right? Where you're on the right course. I'm listening to this podcast. I'm going, crap, right? That's me. That's me. What do I do right now in this moment?
Well, why are you going to a crap? If you're going to a crap, About what? It's resonating for you. So what is it that you are burying? There may be several things. There may be several conversations that you get to have. Listen to that oh crap. Take notice of that oh crap. And if that means you pause this and just be with the discomfort that you are feeling right now and write down some ideas of, well, what's coming up? What am I hiding? What am I lying about? What is it? What is it? Ask yourself the question and see what it is. You'll know the answer. It's there. Um, and then once you realize what it is, what are you going to do with it?
So I'll take that another step of what way I look at it too. And I think you're spot on, Tim. But also, what's the micro commitment or the micro thing that you can do right here in the moment to get you back on track? So if you were slipping in your workouts, right? Drop down and do 10 push-ups right now. Don't have to be perfect push-ups. Maybe 10 is easy for you, then do more. Drop down and do it right in this moment, right? Maybe you've realized, crap, I've been on this road. I've just been hustling in business, right? Great. Stop, pause, go to your calendar and create some time and space for yourself right now, right? Pause that. Make a micro commitment or a micro movement in the right direction because momentum can continue. Obviously, I believe, you want to do exactly what Tim said as well, but you want to make sure you're also stacking micro movements going through. Now, this doesn't mean you have to hustle and all of a sudden run to the gym and do a killer workout while talking to your wife on the phone and moving, stocks and all these, things that you might have neglected. You don't have to go into hustle mode. And that speaks to Tim's point, is you definitely don't have to hustle to do this and play catch up. All you have to do is get started again with grace. So don't beat yourself up, right? That's the first step. Just really just applaud yourself for catching yourself, right? Applaud yourself for recognizing that you drifted, right? You drifted off the path. No big deal, right? That's how sometimes the best explorers find things, was they drift, right? Maybe you're wandering and maybe there's a reason for that. But now that you're back on the path, one is you want to make sure it's the path that you really want. But two is what can you do right now, here in the moment, to actually take action? And to Tim's point, come clean, right? Come clean with people around you, right? Especially if, this guy, Tim, what I told him to do is come clean via video to all the guys, right? We have an amazing supportive community of men. And just come clean to them and say, hey, look, this is what happened. I've been watching and I've been scared to come back because of judgment, my own shame against myself, et cetera, et cetera. And he's done that. And he's actually on an amazing journey again. He's a solid dude. So, it's just making that micro commitment of what can you do right here, right now in the moment to gain momentum without beating yourself up. And it could be something easy. Like I said, drop down and give me 10 push-ups, right? Get movement going, right? Create some emotion into your life and let that anchor in. And those micro steps, whether it be 10 push-ups today, could turn into 100 push-ups a week from now if you're just adding them in.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. You said, get back to action with being compassionate with yourself. Something like I butchered what you said, but yeah, I like the approach of taking the tiny action without missing the lesson. Because some guys will, I'm sure guys have been in this position before and don't just start taking action, right, to push through it. Okay, well, only if I achieve more, or if only if I work harder, if only if I, boom, 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 boom. And, it might work for a short time. You might feel a little bit better because you feel like you're progressing, but usually you'll arrive at the same point. You'll reach, it's like an upper limit. You'll reach a point that you struggle to get above. It's kind of like the guy that I spoke with who'd got divorced 5 times. Each divorce cost him $200,000. He'd spent $1 million on divorces. And he thought every time the problem was the woman. Then he realized that it was him. And that he always seemed to never get beyond a certain level of connection and depth with the woman in his life because he wasn't open to it. And he always thought it was them. But then when he realized it was him, he could then open up and go deeper. And then the fifth relationship was the sixth marriage was a success. Similar thing here, guys. If something's coming up and and I've done this before, I used to pride myself on just powering through things. And it works to a degree, but success and achievement can become hollow and empty a lot of the time in that space. And you're definitely not working smart by doing that either. You're definitely leaving potential on the table by taking that approach, regardless of what you've produced results-wise. There could be a lot more. It's like you've got a pool of untapped potential sitting right there inside of you. That if you were just to, fish in another pool, you'd catch a much bigger fish. You're just going to, look a little bit to your left, and there it is. So yeah, do both.
Awesome. Choose and rather than or. I love it. So gentlemen, if this resonates with you and you want to learn more about what we do, go check out our flagship program, which is thealphareset.com. That's over at thealphareset.com. Until next time, we'll see you on another episode of The Powerful Man Show.